Media. We are most honored to have with us the Vice President of the Uganda Law Society, Mr. Anthony Asiimwe. Today we have paid a courtesy call to the Uganda Law Society here in Kamoja, and we are going to be talking about a number of issues. First of all, the Vice President will allude to us and to the country at large about the state of human rights in Uganda, in the country, and what efforts have they put in place to see that the status quo changes. Mr. Anthony Asiimwe, you are most welcome to beg me.
Thank you.
What is the state of human rights in our country?
I must say we are living during turbulent times, unfortunate times, in a state where we are seeing heavy involvement of the militarization of every system in Uganda, militarization of every institution, where there's total disregard and disrespect for the rule of law and constitutionalism. This time we are seeing, things begin with threats. So you see actual things happening. At the beginning of this week, we are shocked to see the manner in which one of our members, the Asukwago, was violently abducted from his home, breaching his right to privacy as provided from the Constitution, finding him in his bedroom in front of his wife and children. He's abducted, he's disappeared, and this is the military involved, heavily armed. And then you see the CDF a few minutes bragging about it, saying, I have this man in my basement, he's learning Swahili, sharing bad images, trying to degrade the person of Elias Lukwago. This is not just a lawyer. He's a former Lord Mayor, he's a former MP, he's even a leader of a party, a political party.
It was Front for Freedom.
Being treated like that in such a manner, and as a country, we're expected to normalize that. This is not the first time. Much as we are saying this is a direct attack on the legal profession, we've seen threats before. The same CDF threatening lawyers. You remember Kare Baraka, who was representing Honorable Anita Mom. On X, the man is threatening, saying, I do not expect to see any lawyer representing these people, I'll deal with them. We've seen other lawyers being arrested in the course of their work. Katoto Msime the other day had gone to visit at Magere to see Babi Chagula, and he was violently arrested and chased away.
Yes, as Uganda Society, what should be the procedure? What should the CDF, what procedures should the CDF follow if he wants to extend his...
Number one, if the CDF has an issue with anyone, we have laid down procedures in the Constitution and the Police Act. If anyone is suspected of having committed an offense, there should be due process. He should be summoned to police. If he appears at police, he gives a statement. Even if he chooses not to go, that is the only time the police can probably go and get him. But even if you to arrest someone, you have to go and get an arrest warrant issued by court, and you go and arrest the person. But the first step should have been to summon this person, and this should be the role of police. The Constitution is very clear; it has separated these institutions. The army has a different role altogether to protect, the boundaries of Uganda, not to get involved into civilian aspects.
So you are trying to say that the army is trespassing.
The army is
in the roles it's not supposed to.
Is intruding into civilian affairs where they should not be involved. We expect to see the army only when Uganda is at war, or when they are boarding, when they are protecting the borders of the country. When we have a threat coming in, we do not expect to see the army participating in civilian aspects like politics, civilian affairs like civil courts. And this matters because it is completely wrong. It is overstepping, and we are seeing militarism. That is why, if you remember the beginning of the year, while holding our separate opening of the new law year here, because the judiciary had not invited us as usual, since they had started on that from the previous year. We want the country, we want the members, we said, we have a big challenge of practicing law amid military rule.
Okay.
We are literally in a military rule where the country is being run, it's operating on a state of emergency like situation where we see the army coming into the civilian affairs. You've seen the abductions, the disappearing of people. We've seen they're the ones involved in, abducting political activists. You see the statements the CDF is giving. I remember when we were going to hold the elections, the CDF and other senior army officers are giving directions on how elections should be conducted. Everyone should vote and go home. That is not their role. They shouldn't be doing that.
Mr. Asiimwe, the Lord Mayor happens to be the head of the legal team for Dr. Besigye, who is currently in prison. What offense, according to you as a lawyer, did he commit?
Well, under normal circumstances, we look at this as a joke because, number one, we know Elias Lukwago is the lead lawyer for Dr. Besigye,
Yes.
who is being charged with the offense of treason.
Yes.
And his case has been ongoing in court. The DPP has already, disclosed the necessary evidence to the defense counsel, including Elias Lukwago. And then we see these threats by the CDF and successfully see Mr. Lukwago being abducted. Then he appears out of nowhere. Police are taken to court and charged with an offense of misprision of treason. And the implication of that offense is that you got some information that is in your knowledge that a person who is planning to commit treason is planning to, and you fail to disclose that information. Now look at this stupidity. This is a lawyer representing Dr. Besigye. Not only now, he has always been his lawyer.
Yes.
And you're saying this is being tried with treason. But his lawyer is being now charged with misprision of treason, failure to give this information.
Yes.
Under the Advocates Act, every advocate owes a client a duty of secrecy. You cannot go and begin sharing information regarding your client with the public out there, even if it were true.
The same applies for a doctor.
There is that protection.
Even us,
in
we
the law.
protect our sources.
Exactly. It is against all the principles of professional ethics.
Yes.
So now, are you going to say that Ugandans or lawyers in Uganda should stop practicing law? Are you going to stop practicing law? Because all the people represent, and remember, these people are entitled to a legal representation, a right to a fair hearing enshrined in Article 28 of the Constitution provides for someone to have legal representation.
Yes.
So, in essence, you're saying people should not get lawyers to represent them, because if a lawyer represents them, then they are also going to be accused. And if you look at the IBA standards and the UN basic principles on the independence of the legal profession, these instruments are very clear. Even our Constitution, a lawyer cannot be connected, cannot be in any way attached to his client. I'm simply offering my legal representation.
Where does this put the independence of the judiciary and even the law profession?
Of course, we are seeing this as a direct attack on the legal profession in this country. A direct attack on the independence of the legal profession, the threats, the intimidation, and the Constitution is also clear under Article 43. Everyone has a right, every Ugandan has a right to practice his profession without any interference, intimidation, or any kind of interference from anybody.
Yes.
But specifically for the legal profession and the justice sector, this is worrying, because imagine the man's offense was attempting to serve the CDF with court papers. These court papers are not signed by him, they're issued by court. Some ones are issued by court and some by a judicial officer.
Were there other channels through which Elias Lukwago would serve the CDF?
You see, under normal circumstances, there are clear procedures. Let me remind you, during the debate on the presidential term limits in Mbale, the former CDF then, who is also, I think, Mozi, the one who was the CDF then, was served with summons, and he appeared.
Okay.
He appeared in court and he testified and he left. They didn't take anything from him.
No.
These are things that are provided from the Constitution. Let's forget that no one is above the law. It's the Constitution we have. It is what we live by. It is over 30 years of age, and there are clear procedures. No one is above the law. We must follow the law. There should be no excuse whatsoever. Is it the
first time lawyers in this country have been abducted because of such an offense?
What worries me is the history we've read. Of course, we've seen lawyers being abducted before, even Elias Lukwago himself. It's not the first time. due to his political affiliation. We've seen him go through this kind of struggle, this kind of hustle, and we know he's a strong man. But what is worrying is the trend that is taking us back. I don't know if you've read Simon Juvar's book, The Betrayal.
It was my MP.
You can see exactly what was happening during the Amin regime. But regime, these are the things that we are seeing now. When you're reading a book, you think it's a movie. Unfortunately, we are seeing the things happen during our time. In this day era, we are still having these things where people are being abducted, being mistreated.
Our first Chief Justice, our first black Chief Justice was affected.
Exactly. So probably our concern is, again, you asked whether this is the impact on the independence of the legal profession of the judiciary. Our challenge is that the judiciary, the DPP, all these government institutions that also have lawyers, by the way, much as they're government lawyers, that should be standing in the gap, are instead on the same side with the oppressor. Because you cannot tell me that this person who has been abducted, you see how he's looking like he's sickly, he's suffering, he's produced before a court. That charge is sanctioned by the DPP. He's a lawyer. And that charge is read by judicial office, a magistrate, where people make a prayer and say, let's take this man to hospital, he's doing badly. And the magistrate says, no, remanded to prison. So there, somehow we look at it as a connivance. Probably what is going to wake them up is if one of them is picked. And I can assure you that is about to happen with the trends we are having. But we are calling upon them. That's why you saw yesterday we even had to write to the DPP and say, please do your job. You have a constitutional mandate to protect the citizen. That's your role.
Recently, you gave a 24-hour ultimatum to free Elias. Now we are in, I think it was produced in court. He was not given bail. You have tried, of course, different channel. He's still in custody. So, what's next as Uganda society?
No, the time we wrote a protest note to the CDF and the head legal UPDF. In our protest note, we had demanded that he should be produced within 24 hours from wherever he was. That time, no one knew where he was. Yeah. We were just seeing, photos and tweets, social media. But we had about 4 demands. The first demand was that he should be released, he should be allowed access to his family, lawyers, with immediate effect. But we had also made a demand that the UPDF should come out clearly, and make it clear publicly that they will stop interfering with civilian affairs and the practice of law, the independence of the legal profession. We also made a demand to the Chief Justice and the Attorney General to come out and speak against this, to come and give their stand on where the judiciary is in as far as the independence of the judiciary is concerned and the legality of all these actions. We've not had that response from the DPP, from the Attorney General. We've not had the response from the Chief Justice. That is why we even decided to boycott the backbench meeting which they had called, because we didn't see any response. But then again, in a turn of events like we've suspected, like we said, much as he was presented, he's produced now in court and there are charges placed on him. If this man had been suspected of having committed these offenses, they should have gone through proper process. We are only calling for due process. If you want to prosecute someone, let it be a prosecution, not a persecution. Go through proper channels, constitutionally laid down procedures. And now the demand we are making, that's why we shifted now our guns to the DPP. Why would we sanction such a charge? Why is the person still in prison? Now we know where he is, but he's there illegally. He shouldn't be in that prison.
Mr. Vice President, where is the problem? Do we have the problem in the UPDF Act that the hold of that office of the CDF is acting according to the UPDF Act?
No.
Acting contrary?
There's no problem with the law. The law is very clear. The law actually, as written, especially the Constitution, is very clear. It gives roles, duties, and responsibilities of people. What he's doing is breaking the law. It is outside the law. Whatever actions you're seeing are completely breaking the law in total, disregard of what is written down and what is stipulated. He does not have any power anywhere whatsoever. All these are illegal actions. In fact, some of them are treasonous, because you cannot overthrow the Constitution and then you think it's a normal thing. So what is happening is there's no legal backing for it. It is illegal. It is breaking the law. It is unconstitutional, and it is really absurd.
As Law Society, have you tried to engage the Minister of Defense? I hope the CDF is working under the Minister of Defense.
No, we've engaged the necessary parties. where we feel. That's why the first person we wrote to was the CDF himself. We delivered a protest note and made our demands clear. And also the legal, because we expect a lawyer being in the institution, they should be able to advise and guide on the law and the proper thing and the proper processes to take. So we also wrote the same note to the head legal at the UPDF. Those are the people intended to engage, and we engage them, but we've also engaged other duty bearers because this is a Ugandan army. He's doing it in the name of the government. That's why we involve the Attorney General, because these are legal matters.
Yes, and he's supposed to
the Attorney
be the
General,
principal
yes,
legal advisor to government.
to government and the government departments, including the APDF. So we're waiting to see the kind of advice they will give or the kind of steps they will take. Because on our part, we are taking the steps we should be taking by engaging those people, by calling out these wrong things, the wrongdoing, by exposing whatever we're seeing and demanding that there should be a difference. So the next of what should be done, it's those duty bearers who should come out and do their part to restore sanity.
Thank you so much, Mr. Asiimwe, and thanks for the work you are doing here in Uganda Law Society. I can see there is the business is quite
Normal.
and the construction is also getting to completion.
Yes.
What's new at the Uganda Law Society? What changes are you making? What are you bringing on board to see that there is effective rule of law and justice in this country?
Now, all we are doing, we are implementing what we promised as the leadership of the Radical New Bar. We warn people, one of our major 4Ds agendas is demilitarization, and we have steps we are taking, we have plans we are taking to ensure that we demilitarize Uganda, we demilitarize these processes through the programs we are going to lay out, and very soon we should actually watch out for a clear program on the activities. Now, why we did not actually, because we have 4Ds, but did not overemphasize on that, on the demilitarization before, people would misunderstand it, and thus they would think maybe we are extremists, yet we are not extremists. But now it has reached a time where we now have to invoke that, because everyone now has noticed. We have so many calls from members, we have so many requests from members saying, please do something, and it's high time we put out that program of demilitarization. You'll be seeing the activities that will follow.
Maybe also, how is the project going on?
The project is ongoing, of course, with the support of the members, because as you recall, this is strictly members' money. Members of the band, I would like to thank them for the commitment. We do not have any other input. If you recall, the president at the beginning had promised 5 billion, which never came, and we actually decided to say no longer want that money, let it go to support, people have no medicine in hospitals. And I'm glad that our project is moving on slowly. We shall eventually get where we're supposed to get. We are not yet there, but we shall get there, because we know we have the capacity to do that while working together.
So before the completion of this project, what challenges have you been facing?
Of course, the challenges are so many, because one, we never had the amount of money required at once. It's been going on at a slow pace, to the extent that the project, which was supposed to have ended in around 2023, we are now entering 2026. About 3 extra years without completing, but nonetheless, we shall get there. Yes.
Any support, any